hear her now.
I don't know if there's
The new mic isn't working, but I put on a different microphone, so you should be getting some sound, even though it's not the right sound. Give me a second. I should get like one of those little headphone things.
The thing didn't get unplugged, did it?
Your thing? It's okay. I'm about to redo all these cords. That's okay.
It's lit, so it is plugged in. It would not be light if it
That's
wasn't.
Okay. I'm gonna
trying to find where's the edge on this?
This is which one is this? Podcast.
4 something like that, or S or something of that nature.
Audio is on. TV is on. I'm sweating freaking bullets over here, dude. Okay. Now let's go ahead. I'm gonna move this.
I wonder like where that saying came from.
Sweating bullets?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's just because you're sweating like really hard.
I know, but
like a bullet, like steel. So.
Well, but actually, sweating bullets is supposed to be like you're sweating profusely, like a lot. So that.
I am sweating a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
which
actually gonna move this to like here so I can see your hands.
All right. Cool. I don't know how much I'm talking during this because I'll be paying attention to this.
I know, but it's kind of like a cutesy aesthetic vibe.
We got green screen now.
Do you like that little green screen in our little?
We actually have owned that since we started streaming, but it was under so much stuff that we have not used it.
So we've got the little cozy Sonic guy in the background. I am gonna chroma key some stuff in a minute. I need to take my pants off, dude. as long as you're not in frame, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to be. You don't have to be wearing anything right now. Actually, no one will know. Well, now I'm not. I'm not wearing any pants.
And I don't even think anyone's here yet, so no one's gonna know if you don't have your pants on. You can not have a shirt on. You could be literally completely in the.
Come on in. Mallory's not wearing any pants.
You could be in the nude right now. No one would know.
No one would even know, dude. Okay, what did you put for your settings? PP and poopy. Half edition. Cozy crochet with me. Cool. So, you sent your thing? What is that? I can't read what this thing.
Willow and I are watching. Please no nude.
LOL. Willow.
She has underwear on. She just doesn't have pants.
Is Willow wearing pants right now?
Yeah. That's why I was like, is Willow wearing pants right now? Is she? How much is she wearing?
If the 5-year-old doesn't have to wear pants, I don't have to wear pants. Is she 5 or is she 4?
I think she's 5.
Is she 5 now?
I think she's 5.
I'm trying to think of like in realm of preschool she would be 4 because that means she'd be turning. So she's 4, turning 5 in spring.
Yes.
Because how I'm trying to think of what year of preschool she would be 5, turning 4. Because if she was already 5, she'd be turning 6, which means she'd be in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Gotta go through my backlog and my nog.
You can unplug the Wii, just delicately.
A little cord management here,
just delicately, and then put it off to the side if you would like.
That's what I'm trying to do. Oh, this is the thing.
Yeah, it's just got some delicate cords on it, so just be careful with those. Will's actually, surprisingly, she's 4, 5 in February.
That's what I thought. Because I had to think about that really quick. Because I was just talking with my mom about my class. Because now it's like registration for kindergarten is opening in like a couple weeks. So we were just talking about which kids we were recommending for which registrations. So I was just thinking about that. I was like, well, based on their age, they go to a certain thing. Because there is still like the standard date cutoff. And I have a lot of August birthdays, which a lot of them get really close to the cutoff for kindergarten. So we were discussing like how we are going to approach things with their parents because some of them aren't close enough to make the kindergarten cutoff. So we were like, what are we going to like recommend for next steps? Kind of a vibe. Even though I did take the day off from work today, so I'm thinking about preschool stuff while I'm not even freaking out of work.
I'm texting Eliza back as she's looking at my Genshin merch and being like, I love these 2 characters. I'm like, there's like 7 characters in this picture. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, and also, if she wants a Genshin Impact painting done, let me know. Well, I'm going to make her a painted thing in a minute, but I gotta do some other stuff first.
Well, I told her I would play Genshin Impact at some point. I almost wonder if I have to restart the game at this point, because I'm just so not into it that I'm kind of like, I think I need to start from the beginning and make myself a female, because I do relate more to female characters as immersion.
And then you should hop back in, and then I can have your account with Nouvelette on it already.
No, you just want me.
Yeah, I just want Nouvelette.
You
want to play as Nouvelette.
Let's
go, baby!
Well, he's in focus right now, so they started a new account. I could hypothetically pull for him, but that could be your account then.
Yay, yippee! I don't care about the story. I'll hop in where it's at.
I want to care. I want to care.
Well, here's the thing I've gotten with Pokemon Masters.
Oh yeah, this is how we.
I don't read the thing because I know Eevee will read the thing and tell me about it. So I never read the thing.
This is how we work in gacha games.
If it's good, Eevee will tell me, and if it's bad, I don't have to read it. Cause that's what annoys me the most.
If it's bad, I'll still tell you. You just don't have to go through it.
Stuff that's bad and boring. The biggest threat anything could ever not threat, biggest like insult is something being boring. That's like the biggest insult.
That's actually the reason. That's the reason I stopped playing Genshin, even though I love the world and the characters, and I'm telling Eliza about my room full of merch of characters I've never even played, is that I do want the story to be good, and I came into this game and be like, wow, this is kind of boring.
There's cord management down here, because I don't know where any of this.
Yeah, you can't see Madeline. She has no pants, and she's currently managing our wires. So.
You know why? Because it's sweaty in here, and I took the day off of work to work on our market stuff. So
this is kind of like a marketing stream in a way, because I'm going to be telling you, I'm going to crochet.
Maybe I will set up a cam later, unconfirmed, on my table, because I am right behind the camera, as always. I'm not painting anymore. I've now painted my paintings. I'm photographing them, and I'm going to back them. But Eevee is going to be crocheting, potentially chatting, potentially not. That's just kind of the vibe. You know? So we're just kind of, like, hanging out. What is... Oh, this is extension cord. What is this long... Shout out to our extension cord plugged into the extension cord. Really being safe.
No, the only game I would like you to it's on the other side. The only game I would want you to not play, then at least be there to play, is when I do a new account for Star Rail, because that's the game that I'm like, this is.
I want the hot cowboy.
I can get you the hot cowboy.
Ew.
If I start it like soon, I could probably get enough currency before he comes back into focus.
Yeah, but that's a question for another day.
Yeah. Well, we're idly talking right now while we're waiting to get all the things in the right location. I'm just trying to keep conversation going.
Well, Eevee, tell us about your day. How has your weekend been? For me personally, it's been so busy. I've been like living up here. I'm going to buy you both Lobby on Mike's Christmas so we can hear both of you equally. Well, right now normally I sit over here, but the microphone is set up to only catch Eevee. But I just talk really loud. I'm actually not even going to be on stream at all. I gotta run up and down the stairs like 6 times. So it's supposed to be just Eevee with her soft, sultry voice, and then my loud, obnoxious, grating voice. It's supposed to be, you know how they have like Christmas songs you hear from the other room? It's like that, but with my voice. Madeline talking inanely for 6 hours from the other room, aesthetic edition, lo-fi version. Also, I might even play Neopets on Eevee's computer, because it'd be funny. But Eevee, tell us about your day. How have you been?
Tell us about your day. Proceeds to then tell everyone about her day.
Turns out I don't know how to shut up. Also, I just need to get a better dose of medicine, so we're working on it.
I'm starting medicine too, and I have not felt it at all.
I'm excited that you are.
I just feel nothing
wow,
for.
Wow, you still need tabs.
Yeah, that's the one where I'm working my backlog. So there's.
Okay, you're doing great.
I'm doing my best, but the thing is that, like, I was supposed to be streaming over the weekend, and, like, I just didn't. I had to work on crochet stuff. I need to finish a corgi for, even though, again, everyone who I've taken an order from is like, don't worry, just do it at your own pace. I'm like, but I did it so long ago, and I feel bad. Yeah, you'll have to put it onto the cozy game. It does exist as a channel, it's just, I don't have it logged in my computer.
That's fine. No, I was just gonna log into, like, one of mine, so I can just play, like, my aesthetic.
Because we do have a Cozy Gamer YouTube channel.
I'm trying to look into that. What's the login? Do you have a login?
Yeah, just give me a second.
That's fine. I'm trying to log in live on stream. While you do that, I can work on chroma keying your background. Oh my goodness, are you so excited?
Very excited.
Let's see.
Where is it? There's a Twitch. Where's the YouTube? Nintendo. Yearbap, Starbucks.
Maybe practice on something else.
Where's Twitch?
I feel like such a gamer. My gaming.
Okay, I can give you the email for a thing, and that should take you to it. I don't remember why I called the channel. It should just be Cozy Gamers by all intents, but...
Why don't you give me your phone?
So you see the one where it says Gmail for streaming? I think it's attached to that account. It's not actually a lack of having mics, honestly. It's more the fact of, like, our setup is a setup meant for one person. There's usually two of us. So if we... Realistically, if we just had two mics, this would be better. But we're also in, like, a corner of a library. We were talking with my mom being like, she's like, I wish I could get you guys just, like, a small, like, house somewhere where you could just have your stuff set up and it wouldn't have to move because we have a high-traffic house. And we're just like, yeah, one day. One day it will happen. But anyway, I was working on my corgi over the weekend. I've been making a lot of potion bottles. Lots of different colors. Because I have a lot of new yarn I got over Black Friday. So, because I need more all the time. You need a code or something?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. And so, I was working on that. I did that. I'm working on my... I'll probably work on him a little bit during his... I got my dragon noodle thing I'm working on right now. So he'll probably be something I do in a little bit. I'm going to work... I had to do this part. So this is all one continuous piece. So doing things in a curve like this is not easy. It's not... Well, it's not something you normally do. Normally you'll take multiple pieces and sew them together. This is one continuous piece. So doing like these humps and stuff... I got stuck on this all day once because I couldn't figure out how to do it the way the pattern wanted me to do it. So eventually I had to just freehand it, kind of like based on what I did for this hump down here to get it to kind of work. And so I don't have to do much more to finish the body. It's just one of those things where I'm like, it's been a battle trying to do the body. Once I do the body, there's not much left to it really. I have to make arms, legs, and then the frills and the horns. And that was my, I've been making... I have so many dragon patterns, I just don't know how to theme them, so this is my Earth Dragon one I'm working on right now, which is honors of the current banner going on, which I'm going to pull for. At the very least, even if I don't play anything on Genshin, I'm willing to go in and be like, hey, watch me spend a lot of currency for one character. Yeah. And hope my luck is holding, because I'm playing in Star Rail right now, and I'm trying to get a guy, and he just will not come. Like, it's crazy. You can have a 50-50 chance of getting a character, and this is the first time I've lost that 50-50, which I think is pretty impressive, all things considered. But, like, of course, the only time when I don't have an abundance of currency to spend is the time I'm going to lose the 50-50. And then, like, I'm like, I'm assured to get him the next time I get a 5-star, but I'm like, I'm just keep getting 4-star pulls instead. I'm like, come on, man, just let me get you. But, you know, it's because I spent a lot in the last couple months. So, that's just the way it is. But I will eventually get to that. So I did play a little bit of Star Rail this weekend, just kind of to do some quests, get some currency. They have this cool thing where you can go and decorate your own room now, and I'm just like, yes, I love little side games where they have it's like a people management. You manage what everyone is doing on the train, like their different activities. I love how it ranged from everything from, like, the people who are doing, like, mechanical things to you and, like, March just being like, hey, guys, we got snacks. You know? And that's, like, the extent of your abilities is, like... Or, like, one of the things is that you're like, okay, everyone, we're going to have a sleepover in the parlor car. This is non-negotiable. We are all telling secrets around a bowl of popcorn. And I'm just like, that sounds reasonable. It's those things that give the Trailblazers some personality, and the fact that they're like, everyone else is like doing like things, and you're like, I found a tent and storage, guys, let's all go and have a bonfire in the main car, and being like, maybe we shouldn't set fire inside an enclosed space, and you're like, I love those things. So I'm doing those things just to get a little more resources, but that's pretty much what I did. I honestly went to stream. I'm still doing the backlog battle next year, obviously, so I do need to keep working on that list, but you know, sometime this weekend was just kind of like, I need to work on crocheting stuff. I watched a lot of Mythbusters. I've found that Mythbusters is my crocheting show because I know enough of it that I don't have to look at it most of the time. Because I need to keep an eye on my hands, obviously. I can do a lot. You're going to kind of see, I guess, while we're sitting here, but, like, I can do a lot of crocheting while not looking at it, but most of the time, especially when I need to count stitches, I won't necessarily be talking. I might a little bit. It depends on if people have questions to ask me or something like that. Or we might just be here for the vibes, and I'll just be here in a sweatshirt with surrounded by a bunch of stuffies with, green screen and stuff, and that might just be what it is.
Yeah, I'm working on getting the green screen working.
No, you're fine.
Give me a minute!
I'm just mindlessly talking. So, tomorrow, obviously, we're going to do Sonic exaggerations. I just want to get an offer today. I'm trying to stream every day if I can, at least during the week. Because I just want to experiment a little bit. Like, I want to do maybe some drawing one day, some crocheting, and, try some other games, just chat with people. I enjoy just chatting with people. I hear that's how you become a better Twitch streamer, is you just do it a lot, all the time. And, they also say consistent schedule. We know that's not going to happen, at least until this medicine maybe kicks in a little bit more.
Also,
but
our life just doesn't lend itself well to consistent schedules. That's just not a life we live, dude.
Yeah, we live with a chaotic family, so, it is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is also our life. So, every time we do scheduling, we literally have to wrestle it into submission and tie it up with the knowledge it's going to break out probably in the next 2 hours. And that's scheduling in our lives. But, I just want to, play some stuff. And I keep, like, the one thing I had the idea to do, I think I discussed in my last drawing stream, was, like, I want to maybe do, like, a, video reaction compilation, even though I'm not a reaction person. I wouldn't necessarily react in the way, like, Mallory might react, with, like, expressiveness and facial movements and stuff like that, changing of voicing. But, like, I would like to go through as a, like, I like to analyze things. Oh, that's, now it's,
Hey, a chroma key!
Nice. Good job, Alan. But, so we know the green screen works, at least. But, now you can see more of our cloud background. But, I would like to do, like, I was talking, with, one of our newer viewers, the other day when I was drawing. 'Cause I'm trying to think of, like, a way to do, like, a drawing, like, a character of some sort when I want to do YouTube videos at some point, so I'm thinking maybe an animated character of some sort for reaction based and talking stuff. Are you
Sorry, I didn't know if that was coming through on the screen.
It was.
I'm just testing some stuff out.
We're doing this live. But
I'm doing this live,
I know.
I'm just kind of figuring this out, man.
But I would like to do maybe, like, I thought of maybe getting all together all, like, the Genshin character trailers and watching them, like, in a long reaction thing. I've seen people do it online. That's why I was curious about doing it. It'd be interesting for me, because even though I'm someone who's part of this fandom and clearly is, buying merch and has a lot of knowledge of the basics of the world, a lot of it is fan knowledge. So it means that, like, I know things from, like, fan art and fan fiction, which is definitely, like, any version of the internet, never the truth. Usually it's stretched, or it might be some, like, longing for something that the canon doesn't actually give you. So I'm like, it'd be interesting to go and watch trailers, because I love the fact that, I know so much about Genshin, and there's still probably like 60 characters I've never even heard of, because their names are so all over the place. It's like, I love how they'll be like, here's a new banner, here's the 4-star people in focus right now. I'm like, how do I still not know who any of you are? I've know so much about this game, and I still have no idea who these characters are, so I thought it might be interesting just to react to the character trailers. And I also like just seeing how things progress over time. So, like, a gacha game in its first edition versus in its 5th edition is always very interesting to compare and see how things change over time. Like, Pokemon Masters, Fire Emblem Heroes, I've talked about those. They are very different in their first 2 years of development than they were afterwards. First 2 years is usually a big time. If you don't have a strong start, that's usually the first 2 years are when, like, the mechanics are incredibly unbalanced, and they're very stingy with the currency, and it's hard to pull for characters. Or, you be like Ensign and you just stay stingy with currency 5 years and going strong, Only now they're realizing, maybe we should give you guys a little bit more free stuff so you actually keep playing the game. But, I like to do the trailers and just react to it and see how the trailers change over time. I would love to do a reaction. It's kind of like, taking your, like, medicine with what, like, the sweets type of thing. Like, I want to do something to learn more and get back into this game. So I would like doing the Genshin trailer things would be entertaining for me, would be informative maybe for other people. I would try and, like, give my opinions on them as they go. I don't know how many character trailers there are, so I don't know how long this would actually take. But then the thing I would legitimately want to do is, like, I would love to go through all the character trailers for Star Rail, compare them between the same company. So, it'd be interesting to compare them, see how it differs. And just because there's some character trailers I would love to just go and be like, let me talk about how cool the animation is in this. Like, some of them just have some really great animation that you're kind of like, you don't even really need to know what game it's from. You don't even need to know it's from a game. This just looks really cool. Like, there's this one that looks like a full-on, like, you know, Neo Tokyo cyberpunk movie in like three minutes, and it's just introducing an electric character, you know? Mm-hmm. I love to do the... Yeah.
I'm just working on some stuff.
No, you're fine. I'm not saying anything. But, I just think it'd be fun to do, like, a reaction thing to like that. I don't know if anyone will watch it. I don't know if it would just be for me. I'm assuming it probably would be to some extent. But, like, I don't know. I think that would be a fun thing to do. And I also want to try and get into YouTube video editing in some way. So I'm trying to think of something I could do that would probably... I feel like a reaction video like that would probably be more minimal editing. Like, probably just, you know, cutting out dead time in between videos or something like that. But, you know... I'm just trying to... I keep telling people, I'm like, I'm trying to get into stuff. I'm trying to find something that I feel, like, passionate, I can get behind, that I feel like I can get... I just want engagement, but not for, like, the algorithm reasons. I'm like, it's just I want some... You know, I want to have discussions with other fans. I want people to talk to. I want to hear other people's opinions. I remember I was talking to Madeline yesterday. I considered at some point doing, like, a Ruby rewatch podcast. To maybe with, like, one of my friends who's seen Ruby before... Like, and just because I was talking to her about, I talked to Madeline until 2 a.m. yesterday, which was probably not good for either of us, because we both slept till 11. But, Madeline's never bothered by sleeping till 11. It bothers me more. Madeline loves sleeping till 11. If she has the capability to do it, she would do that every day. But, I don't know, we were talking about Dark Pictures Anthology, and somehow that got me ranting about, like, Ruby for, like, 2 hours. And my different opinions on the show, and I think you only have strong opinions about something if you care about it. Otherwise, like Madeline said, if it's just boring, then you just move on and you find something else to do. But you only, like, care about it if it's, like, then you'll actually, like, make opinions about it. So I think it'd be interesting to do a Ruby rewatch, especially because you could get, like, probably the entire season in, like, the first episode of a podcast, because... the first season of Ruby, I think, is collectively about an hour, because they were web shorts at that point, so, you know, different tone. But I think it'd be an interesting thing to go through and, you know, talk about stuff like that. I want to just talk about stuff, honestly, man, and so I'm trying to find a format that I can do that consistency, some way I can turn that into, like, isn't that just a thing that, like, you know, because current jobs are just kind of depressing and stuff like that, now that we're all looking for, like, how can I turn the things I love into something that, you know, I can get income out of. And that's not really kind of like my goal essentially with a YouTube channel or Twitch or anything like that. I want to converse with people. I want to interact with people. I want to have discussions about the things I like. And the thing is just finding where that space exists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's honestly the kind of the reason this channel exists in a way too, is that I'm, like, looking for a space to have those discussions. I miscounted my stitches. Now I have 8.
I'll be honest.
Thank you. I have many stitch things. I'm also...
Oh, how cute!
I'm also wearing...
I'm putting her in a little Christmas...
I also...
I'm putting it on here.
I'm also in a little... I have a Stitch sweatshirt. I have a Sleepy Stitch over there. I got a lot of Sleepy things. We got Sleepy Yamper, Sleepy Eevee, and we got Sleepy Slowpoke.
Over?
No.
So you're not catching all the bookshelf stuff?
We got Sleepy Sonic. We got Sleepy Kirby.
Cropping off. I can crop it more, actually.
We got a lot of Sleepy stuff here.
I'm just gonna crop it a little bit.
You think that's a lot of Stitch? You should see my room. This is kind of like the most minimal Stitch we have. We actually have 3 stitches out of frame. We have a Stitch potted plant behind Madeline. There's a lot of Stitch right now you actually can't even see in this room alone, much less in my actual room. One of these days we will do a room tour, because I think that could be a stream in and of itself. I know.
I'm sweaty.
Madeline's, yeah, that's how we started the stream. We're like, okay, Madeline is not wearing pants, but it doesn't matter, because you can't see her. She's fine.
I'm using what my degree, I paid for this degree, I'm gonna use it. My actual media.
She's doing what she was born to do. Or what she paid a lot of money to do.
A little bit over, just a hair. The other way.
I'm trying to get, it's like tilted sideways. I'm trying to get her like even.
Yeah.
Almost got it lined up now.
Because I'm cropping.
Yes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
Shoes.
That's right there.
I have so much stitch. I actually think I have like doubles of a couple of different stitches too. Like I have these other stitches over here that are definitely baby toys, but I bought them because they're cute.
You just wait till you see what I. It's gonna make you laugh.
I'm sure it will.
It really make you laugh.
I'm sure it'll be very cool. But anyway, so we're just kind of sitting, crocheting. At some point, again, like to just catch you up on the current discussion. Some point, I would like to in this week, I think, play Genshin in some capacity. It might just be me going on there for an hour and then pulling for a character several times and you reacting depending on how easy or hard it is for me to get him. And then I think I almost want to start like a new account on both Star Rail and Genshin to kind of compare and contrast the two of them. And I think maybe if I try and play as a... I don't know. Maybe if I play as the female character, I'll feel a bit more immersed. But honestly, I thought the male looked cooler, so I played as a male character. But maybe that's why I'm lacking immersion. Though it might also be because of the fact that the main character never talks, and I have an annoying fairy following me around everywhere, who I really wish I could just hit the mute button on. I'm debating briefly if maybe I could play the game if I got a remote and I just hit the mute button every time she spoke. And then unmuted it when any other character spoke. Which might be a lot of like heavy lifting, but it also might be the way I get through the game with my sanity. Because it's a cardinal sin in my eyes to just randomly button mash through the dialogue in any game that's trying to tell a story. Like, it's a game that doesn't try and tell a story, that's fine. Or it's something that doesn't matter. You know, like if you're playing like mindless side quests that don't have any bearing on anything. Probably not be able to watch anytime Thursday or Friday because I have exams. It is exams time, yeah, that makes sense. But, let's see, what an increase. But that's the, I don't know. I literally want to just have this, like, long video I say that's, like, my journey in trying to love Genshin Impact, this thing that I do actually enjoy, but yet cannot enjoy as a game. Because as a game, it's just poopy. But I want to try, I know if I get out of the area, but I'm just so mentally blocked on it that I'm kind of like, I don't know. My girls have told me that I definitely kneecap myself by playing it after I've played Star Rail, which is definitely the superior game by no short margin. And so therefore I went in, I had low expectations going in, and somehow it met me even lower than that. And so I'm just like, come on, I was trying to give you a chance. You can't. Not to mention the prologue, it sets itself up to be something really cool. And then it's like, how do you manage to make fighting a dragon boring? How is that possible? It's a dragon. Yeah. It's a dragon with 6 wings, for crying out loud. That's so cool. How do we manage to make this boring? Probably because, gosh, I miscounted. Increase, single, increase. Okay. I was like, don't tell me I miscounted my stitches already. But...
because you're trying to talk while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it for the moment.
Girl, wait till you see the. Okay. Oh, you're so Christmassy! Oh, Christmas girl!
Evie, so cute!
Look how Christmassy you are!
I love it. So Christmas.
Very nice, Valley.
Thank you.
So Christmas.
You're so Christmassy, Evie.
Little lady crocheting by the fire. Are you taking pictures of this, Mom?
Yes!
You can't see my mom's off screen right now taking pictures of me because she thinks this is funny.
Look how aesthetic you are! I'm so good at my job!
I love it.
Can I change your chat box size so you can be able to read it a little bit easier? Oh, I'm so proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
Thank you.
Everyone's proud of Madeline.
I worked really hard.
In the chat, everyone give thanks for Madeline.
Thumbs up to me.
Thumbs up to Madeline.
And let me know if I am not going to be talking, so it doesn't matter about my voice, but let me know if there's any issues with Evie's voice or with anything, and then I'm behind the computer today, so I'll fix it.
Behind the computer, not wearing pants.
Oh, I'm movie.
They're so proud, Madeline.
Yeah. Nice. It's supposed to chat. It's supposed to disappear. I just don't know why it doesn't.
Tonight's good to go out.
It doesn't need to disappear. It's kind of covering up that awkward clipping we have on the side of Kirby.
I wish there was a way I could, like, soften it. I mean, technically I could put, like, a picture there, but I don't really
That's what I'm saying. Don't worry about the chat.
Not worry about it too much. I have an idea of what I can do, but just you keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Let me get some audio in here. Actually, through the Elgato, are we getting any music?
I don't know. You have to ask the chat.
Are you guys getting any music through the
I don't know.
Oh, so aesthetic, so Christmas. Freaking love this dude.
I do too. It's so
Let me see if
cute.
I can get that really quick.
Teamwork. I'm taking pictures because I'm the mom.
Yeah, you are the mom.
This is sure, and I got a sad frowny face.
No, I meant to do a high five.
Look at this nice
Look,
stream
look
I've
what
set
he's
up,
doing.
Dad.
Look what
She's in
Oh,
Christmas
cool.
Town.
Very
Now,
nice.
now my entire family is in here nerding out about how
She's in
cute I
Christmas
look.
Town. I used a green screen.
Never let it be known I don't have a
Is she
supportive
streaming right
family.
Yeah, she's streaming
Here's the
crochet.
stream.
Christmas stream.
Thankfully, due to the green screen, you can't see that both my parents and my sister right now are just
Yeah,
totally
they're
losing their
over
minds.
that way, and I'm over this way.
That's my dad.
I feel like personally, if I had a Muppet, my whole life would be solved. I can be like, oh, Evie, it's me, Pusheen Cat. Crochet away. That's so funny.
This is the thing that actually gets us to get more viewers. I don't even care.
Oh, Evie, I've come in from Christmas Town.
It needs to come down from the top. Your dad needs to drop it in from the top.
Oh, Evie, it's me, the ghost of Christmas past.
I don't think we've ever had Christmas in the past like this.
It's me,
Gotta
the
do.
ghost.
Oh.
I'm glad. See, I don't even need to do anything. I just sit here.
Christmas time. Where's the ghost of Christmas time?
This is gonna be what we're known for. I'm trying to crochet while the rest of my family's having fun.
He's going.
It's the ghost of Christmas. Evie, tell us what you're working on, Evie.
Evie, show us that stuff.
I love crochet.
I'm gonna send you 3 crochets.
What you doing?
The spirit of Christmas crochet.
Christmas crochet past.
Yeah.
We're all retired.
I think so.
Evie, I brought you some yarn.
Careful, that one comes out really easily.
Evie, would you like a new hook? I brought it for you. Let me take the elevator. Beep. Alright, see you later. Pink.
Do the escalator.
Do. Hi, Evie. I'm just gonna grab something. Okay, I'll see you later. Pink.
Escalator down.
I think puppetry is my true calling.
There you go.
It might be.
I think I found the answer.
Mally's never gonna appear on stream again. She's just gonna have a
Oh
puppet.
my God, I want to so bad. They have. I've seen it. I was like, I feel like if I just had like a little ooby guy, I would never come on stream. I would just talk like this. Oh, Evie,
You really
what
do
are
need
you
a
making
puppet.
today? I was like, I feel like if I just was like a Muppet handler, then I'd be perfect. Like I can bring my little. This is my self-insert. Oh, Evie, it's me, Madeline. What are you making for Christmas? I love Christmas.
Yeah, you tried to steal it, didn't you?
I did. Oh, it didn't turn out so well. Turns out I'm the king of Halloween. Oh man.
Turns
Oh,
out
I can't reach my head. Oh, I forgot.
We'll have to get you a proper puppet.
Oh, I sure love Sandy Claus. What's that out the window, Evie? Look at our Christmas window. What's happening out there? Evie, look at our Christmas window. I just don't know which direction I need to turn. Wow, that window is so nice out there.
Consider that you're mirrored.
I know. It's really confusing. Do you think this is how Jim Henson did it?
Nope. He did it with a sock.
Bye. I'm off to go steal Santa Claus. Bye. It's too big to go down the elevator.
That's funny.
Yeah, I
That
just-
solves all my problems. That's actually so funny.
This is how we build viewers.
That just like solved all my life problems.
Alright, you don't need a laugh track. I'll just sit here.
No,
Yeah.
that's literally so funny. Wow, that's really funny, Yumi. That's like, probably the best thing we've ever done on this channel.
I have to let everyone know you're doing puppets.
It's so funny. If they come on, I'll give everyone a personalized Christmas greeting.
Look, this
Christmas puppet.
Yeah, I think you guys are gonna love it.
Willow's entertainment.
Oh, she's watching.
Yep.
What, has she only got a green screen on there?
Well, they took a picture a little while.
Oh, okay. I love that you made a little snowy window behind
You
her.
like it? I love it. I'm gonna
I
try and see
love
if I
it.
can add a little extra. That's what I said. Look at me. I'm using all of my media degree to good use.
Eliza says you're hilarious.
Thanks. I cracked
Who
myself.
said
up.
that?
Eliza.
Eliza did.
She's the real moon one.
That's so freaking.
She's been my most consistent viewer in the last week.
Be
Awesome.
real,
I
man.
need to give her like a little medal.
I thought it said real moon, but Evie said, my mom says, be real moon. I'm like, oh, there you go.
It's not real. It's be real.
No, I'm gonna call it Brielle. I think that's funnier.
For real. What time we go?
I think that's funnier.
Oh.
Whatever you want.
If you chat in the Discord, I'll try and answer you, or you chat here, I'll try and answer you.
That's
But
right.
Give her an
Yeah.
hour
Yeah.
or so.
In a hurry.
you have to let Mallory just warmed up her puppet skills. We can't stop her
know.
now.
I'm getting my little, I'm getting you like some little aesthetic.
That's cute. That's funny.
Mallory's really getting.
Look, I gave
There
her a
you go.
little Christmas lamppost.
Oh, you got a lamppost in there
To
too.
cover up like the weird edges.
I don't know why we have a lamppost inside if I'm inside, but
Shut up. I'm working my hardest here.
How are you gonna see what you're working on?
Everyone's a critic.
see, she said it's real. It's not be real.
It is for real. That's what I thought, Laura.
Our mom's smarter than we are, so we weren't sure.
It's real. See, now I gotta find
It's my D&D character named Brielle Moon Whisperer. See, I figured it was something like that. That makes sense. He has to speak nerd, that's all.
I don't.
I mean, you're like someone who learned it in an online course, so you know the basics
Yes.
of it, but you just can't communicate
But
in a
that's also, if
conversation.
that was on a license plate, I would say be real. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm good at deciphering license plates.
You are pretty good at license space.
It's me, the ghost of Christmas breakfast. I think her name is pronounced Brielle Moon. I don't know which way I'm turning. I just keep rolling around. There's so much butter in here. Who put all this butter? Whoa! Who put all this butter in here? Whoa!
You need
It's
some
like
syrup to be
it's like the Muppets. Whoa!
You need some syrup to slide.
I guess you're just like the Muppets. Whoa! Whoa! Who's running this thing? Who's driving this bus?
We should never have bought a green screen. We gave Mallory too much power.
Evie's got a nice little halo around her head too.
Hi guys, it's me, the Waffle Shop. Evie's got a waffle head.
He's waffle good.
Hi, my name's Waffle. I shoot it from this air. Welcome to the Waffle Stream. Today I will be crocheting a brother. I can't.
What?
He's made out of crochet. He's lonely. He wants a family.
Just out of context, that could be interpreted so many ways.
I want a brother. I'm just so alone. I'm just a waffle in this hard, hard world.
I'm waffle lonely.
I'm waffle lonely. That's a good one. I'm just
Come on, Melanie.
waffle lonely.
You need to be getting on the waffle puns.
Oh man. I don't know any waffle puns. Oh my puns.
So your puns are waffle?
Oh, waffle good. So waffly bad. Oh man. Now watch me dance. It's like I need the little sticks that they come up down here, so you can have like the little.
Yeah.
See a little popcorn.
I might have like a pencil over here. I should probably put my pants back on.
If you don't, Melanie, I won't require you to have pants if you don't want to wear pants.
If my dog accidentally gets on camera, then I get arrested.
Now that you get arrested for that, I think there's actually a portion of Twitch that subscribes to that
Yeah,
content.
you get extra subscribers.
Yeah.
Put like little sticks in his hands.
Actually, I was like, are we streaming now? I'm like, yeah, we're living in the
Girl,
moment.
You're missing the good stuff.
We're living in the
This
moment.
is the good content before I go back to work.
To be fair, I'm like, everyone who's in
Yeah,
our
can you
D&D
hold his head
chat.
so I can use the little arms. Can you hold Evie, tell us about what you're making today. Wait, move him this way. He's out of the camera. Oh, Evie. Oh my god, it looks like he's getting stabbed. Oh my goodness. I sure love Christmas. Oh, Evie. Can I have a big Christmas hug? Hug me, Evie.
Hug the lamppost.
It's Christmas time.
The lamp-
It's my favorite time. Christmas time is my favorite time of year. Christmas boogie, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Saturday Night Live. And you see like he's like stabbing his hand. I feel so bad. Oh, Evie, I just rolled in from Christmas breakfast town. I miss Mayor McEggs. He's my best buddy.
You look like you have something going on with your other hand there.
I'm doing my best, Evie. I'm just a waffle in a waffly hard world. You're so mean to me. All I want is for my syrup honey to come back to me. My hand fell off. Evie, you're not giving me a lot to work with here. It's hard being a one-man band.
I have to tell everyone about your waffles.
Muppets work best in groups of 2 to 5.
Under,
Who wants to be in my band?
I thought the whole thing they only fit like 2 people underneath the stage at a time.
That's why I said 2 to 5, depending on if it's a hand puppet or if your pencils keep falling
Or
out.
if it's a marionette.
Or it's a marionette. I think if I do it like this.
I think marionettes are in a different class than puppets, actually.
Yes, because you string them from above.
Now he can dance and sing.
No, your dad's dancing behind you.
He's really getting into it. That's all.
I say, come on, angels. How's that song go?
What song are you trying to sing?
I think it started with the national anthem a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
What's wrong with you
I was like, oh, come on,
Is
you
that
faithful,
like
but I think
Christmas?
I forgot the words after oh.
That's not like you're like, oh, beautiful for his face just.
National anthem.
You're like, oh, beautiful.
Nashville anthem?
No, you're she's singing, oh, beautiful for spacious skies. But I'm like, that's not even the national anthem.
No, I just couldn't remember.
It's
what
an
it
American,
says.
it's an American song. It's just not the national anthem. Madeleine's literally crying behind the camera. You can't see it, but she's crying. She's just
That's enough work for me for one day.
okay. Are you just gonna sleep now?
Yeah, that was so funny. No, I actually have to go do some work. That's why I'm up
You don't have to do work, Madeline. This is work technically. This is us marketing.
You've
Like
unlocked my inner Muppet. That's why I have to make like. I'll have to make more Muppet.
we need to give you.
This
We need
is
to
my
give you.
favorite. So you got the little.
You
arms.
already had an inner Muppet. We gave you an outer Muppet.
No, for real. Like you're never gonna see me on stream again. You're just gonna see me. Like people have VTubers. I don't have VTubers. I have real life mannequins. I'm gonna use puppets.
I think a mannequin would be actually kind of creepy.
I keep tilting it the wrong way. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's like you have to get used to like reverse controls.
I'm like, jump scare.
You only jump scare because you're like flexing on me. I don't know. Like I keep like compressing my like.
Well, it's because you sit like this. You gotta push. That's why you're supposed to have lumbar support. Let me get you.
Okay, yeah, whenever you're ready.
Let me get you some more lumbar support. Put this guy behind you. Yes.
Dad's on board with that. He said
We're gonna
let's
just
do it.
lean back into that guy. There you go.
I have the worst
That was
posture.
so funny, actually.
I have, like-
It made me think of those laugh therapy. I love some good laugh
That was actually
therapy.
so funny.
Now life
Tune in
sees.
for laugh therapy.
Dog, that made me freaking giggle my little pants off.
I'm gonna giggle my little
Oh my god.
pants.
That's so
Well,
funny.
you actually giggled your pants on because your pants
yeah,
started
I
off.
giggled my pants back on, actually.
So,
You're correcting me.
yeah, she changed.
Now you can have the calm aesthetic stream you're planning to have instead of my chaotic stream.
I don't know. I think people are enjoying it. I'm enjoying the fact that I have lampposts inside.
Hey, it's called aesthetics. Where did I put my phone?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's down on the ground.
But now you can talk and do whatever you need.
I don't know. There's so much I'm
And I'm gonna take
counting at the same
photos of
time.
mine.
So, I actually like when you go and do random stuff because then I can just.
I guess I should read Diane's minutes.
I guess I should. I had like 6,000 messages and like emails and just all sorts of stuff. I haven't checked a message probably since Thursday, really. Just because I log in and then I turn my phone off.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mind sending you Discord things
'Cause
About
you know
fandom-
I'm not gonna read 'em.
about fandom stuff because I'm like, she's not going to see this for a while, so actually it'll be funnier when she sees it in like a month.
She said Pasto, Jonathan.
Come on, Pasto, Jonathan. Okay, I think
So he's a pasta now?
Pasto.
Oh, okay. So not pesto.
Yes, he's not a pasta. He's a pasto.
I thought he was a pesto. That's why I was confused. Alright.
1, 2, 3,
Did you guys already do your baby Jesus snack, Maddie?
11 now. 12, 13, 14, 15,
What's a baby Jesus snack?
19, 20. It's happy birthday, Jesus.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Jesus. We celebrate him by giving the kids a snack. A special treat like a cookie or a brownie.
I was just wondering, I'm like, is this like a symbolic thing, or are you
Yes.
like eating little baby Jesuses?
It's a symbolic thing since Christmas is Jesus' birthday.
Even though we're insisting on talking about the crucifixion
I
in
have
church?
48 paintings I have to back.
Yeah!
Dubs.
Slay.
I love painting.
I wish I could say I had that amount of stuff.
They're not all my favorite, but they're done. Which counts. So I need to get some. I have a little bit of paper up here, but I need to get some more. I have like some of my supplies because I was doing it while we were doing D&D a long time ago. We haven't had D&D in forever, so all my stuff is still in the basement. So I need to get it.
Yeah, so anyone who joined this for the FNAF content, I'm making a Chica right now. That's the FNAF content.
Yeah.
Because I've made one Chica and then it was sold immediately, like the morning of, so. My stuff sells out way too fast. I just can't keep up.
Oh darn!
That's
It
a
isn't a-
terrible problem to have.
Oh man, my stuff sells out too fast. Oh man.
It is when I have my sister over there cracking the whip, being like, make more FNAF stuff!
It is true. I'm only cracking the whip because I'm cracking the whip on myself right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing that. I'm only doing it because I'm doing it. Alright, let me go grab my paper crafts from the basement. I'll be back.
I don't even know if you can hear like my fingers moving or not on this. This is
You can see it.
okay. We had to change our setup so that you could see better what I'm doing with my hands, and also since kind of, I'm just streaming a lot by myself right now lately anyway, so it probably makes more sense to have a camera focused more centered than off to the side, and then you can't see me because it's like off to the side. So a change in venue was necessary. Well, we're still in the same location. I'm just move things around a little bit. Same amount of plushies, you just can't see them as well anymore. I got my yarn off to the side and stuff like that. We got our Sleepy Sonic. Okay, where did I mess this up? I have too many stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Increase 1, 2, 4, 5. Increase 2, 3. Best thing about crochet is it comes out very easily, but so it's not hard to undo if you think you made a mistake. It's just more the fact of like now I have to go back and do that all again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm mostly going to be just working on this and trying to keep my count straight, but if anyone wants to chat in the chat or ask a question to prompt conversation, or maybe you just want to talk about your day, by all means, go for it.
stuff.
Missed you.
Thanks. It's not for so long. Vending machine. I've got almost everyone except the Jack Skellington one. I got the Stitch one. No Jack Skellington one.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, those little blind bag things are a lot like gotcha stuff too. Keep writing up like notes on my phone for like things I think about that I could do an article on and like discuss at length. But then like I just never start any of them because I get interesting ideas and then I won't do anything with them. Although to be fair, you know, that is kind of how I've been doing D&D a lot lately, is I kind of just go in and being like, here's an interesting idea, let me write it up, and then maybe I will use it at some point in the future. That's how actually...
I need a tissue.
Is that the Cracker Barrel we went to last time over at 42 and 40?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Closest to here.
Hmm?
It's the closest one.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh. Okie dokie.
Well, like, when we do different things for our campaign and stuff like that, half the time I'm not even, like, planning ahead because I usually planned, like, 4 things that were supposed to happen and they didn't happen, so I just kind of put them off to the side and eventually I'll be like, well, this is gonna happen. Let's have a very long campaign thing, like a thing going on this weekend, and I'm kind of like, I have a lot of things I would like to do. Reasonably, knowing the speed at which this group does things, most notably combat, what could we actually reasonably achieve? So it's kind of a mix between like, this would be fun from a story point of view, but also, would it actually work? Or would everyone just get stuck? Sometimes I debate just throwing everyone in and being like, here, it's a bunch of monsters, go fight. But I know that the way our group is positioned, 90% of people would run, and then my sister would not.
I keep trying to fight you, and they're like, run away or you'll die. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Realistically, I'm trying to die because I want to see. I have a clause that will only happen upon my death. However, nobody will let me freaking die. So, that's the thing.
I'm sorry that you're a very beefy.
DM.
I'm sorry you're a very beefy boy, and you just can't die easily compared to everyone else.
I know, I've never actually died in combat. So sad. Oh,
Yes, I do DM. I've been running, because of my varying mental illnesses, I like being able to keep track of details and make really complicated things and feel more like in control of my world, so I prefer DMing over playering. I am going to try and be a player in an upcoming Strahd campaign, though. Very excited for that. I've written 15 pages worth of stuff about 4 potential character ideas I might use. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to come. I had that was a stream discussion topic on that one weekend where we streamed for like 7 hours in a row. A guest appearance for Meredith. What? But the one time we streamed 7 hours in a row and had that guest appearance for Meredith, and we talked about my characters because I made like a PowerPoint on the spot to discuss them. So I have 4 different character ideas I'm going through, and I wrote like, again, 15 pages worth of stuff. To be fair, it more realistically is probably closer to 11 because at least 4 of those pages are character images to give an idea of what the characters look like. But yeah, I have character ideas all the time. It's just a matter of choosing which one feels the most reasonable. So I've got a lot of options there, but I've become a player just long enough to make me yearn for being a DM again because I like knowing what's going on and having more stuff in my control. It's I'm not probably from many poor RPG experiences, RPG of the tabletop kind, by the way. I'm not the most trusting player, so I usually am someone who's like, it can be very hard for me to go in and be like, I'm gonna do this, and I don't fear failure because I always feel failure in my daily life. So sometimes it's hard to let go of that part of my brain. And I've been in many situations where I go and be like, I'm gonna go in here just to have fun, and the DM's like, well, what if you blew up, and then your character was dead, and then you had to make something new? I'm like, I'm sure someone finds that fun. I don't find that fun. So I'm not the most trusting of a player, but I also do really want to just try and do story stuff, and I want to have fun, and interact with the other characters. I sometimes have a little difficulty doing that because I'm always thinking probably something way bigger and more fantastical than whatever the DM has planned. So I usually set myself up for failure by like imagining things and realizing like no one else is as crazy as I am besides maybe Madeline. That's why sometimes she frustrates me because Madeline can always guess where I'm going because she does think along similar lines as I do. So she never like makes it a problem in the story. It's just she'll always look at me across the table and give me this very kind of like, side-eye glance of like, I know what you're doing right now. And I'm just like, no, you don't. And then afterwards, she's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, curse you. But yes, I DM. I've been DMing since, it was actually, the year after COVID, I think. Essentially when the point where we could actually meet with each other in person again. And I've made probably 50-some character sheets. Because I'm always getting ideas for characters, and I like just building them. It's a soothing thing to all my tisms, is that just sorting things into categories and making something out of a known system that follows certain rules is just very soothing. It's probably the same reason I crochet a lot. Let's see. 9, 3, okay. But we started a campaign in, I think it was 2021. Point is that Willow had just been born. It was a while ago, so it probably was 2021 or probably 2021. The later end of it at least. And I wanted to do a campaign. I wanted to try DMing. I tried before, it never really worked out, and this time I'm going to make this work. So we started with the Waterdeep Dragon Heist module, and that took about a year or so. And then we took a little bit of a break, and then we did Wild Beyond the Witchlight module, which was a lot of fun. That one took a little longer, so that one took like a year and a half, and then now we're into Arc 3, which has been me kind of freestyling it the whole time, and just pulling things from books to help myself along. But, it's, we had a question earlier in the year being like, am I gonna miss the finale of Arc 3 at the end of the year? I'm like, we're gonna be lucky if we're done with Arc 3 by the end of the year. We started at some point last year. We're still not there. We're getting close. Once we get to this, they're trying to get to a monastery on the top of the edge of the world, essentially. That will be like the last part before the end game stuff starts happening of this arc. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. Scheduling is just such a pain. It always is. I'm trying to get everyone in the same room at time.
Well, dog, we're trying to be with our neighbor down the street, and even then it's not.
Yeah,
easy.
well, especially if you got active students, it's just, they're busy. It is what it is. It's super fun to create characters. I've only played one campaign, so I have a stack of characters I want to play but never has. Well, maybe when we're done with this campaign, you can come play with us.
That'd be fun.
It'll probably be, you might be out of college by that point, but we'll see.
Honestly, it's better that way.
It might be better that way, honestly. Yes, we do. And I honestly have been thinking about, 'cause 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because, we are doing Arc 3 here, and then I'll be taking a break to be a player in another campaign, which is usually what I do, because I have so much world building stuff in my things. This third arc has not been it still hasn't as long as the second arc, believe it or not, and that was a module run arc, but, there's just been a lot of traveling in this one. Not actually, it still hasn't been as long as the second arc, believe it or not. It's felt like it, but it actually hasn't. A lot less has happened. The other one just had a lot of traveling in it, and it's the Feywild, so things got weird. But, once we're done with the Arc 3, I have 4 arcs planned in total when I first conceived the story. The funny thing is that, like, I started with a basic idea for the story of where I wanted it to go. And, like, I've talked about it at length before, for those who don't know. Maybe I'll put it in the chat. I originally made a character, an NPC, to give me. I was using it from a tip from a YouTube video I saw. Find a way to pull characters out that are like, because sometimes the thing that can stall a campaign is someone being absent and not wanting to go on without the character. So like, come up with like an NPC or something that can just whisk your character off, so that if the character is missing, you can give an easy explanation for why they're not there. And so their idea, like in the video, they said like, oh, I had this like one bounty hunter guy who like he would come and like whisk people away. So like if I had a missing player, I would just say, oh, the guy that you know, this bounty hunter guy, is in the shadows. He comes and grabs you, walk through a portal, and that character's just gone for the session. That's their way of explaining why the character's not there. I did this, or at least I tried to do this. I had a character at the time. It was one character, and then it became two characters later. I had a character called the Conductor, who was supposed to just be the conductor of essentially a magic train that could go between, like, dimensions and travel through time. And so, like, if the character was missing, he would just whisk them away. Like, he could just, like, you know, point to someone, hand them a ticket or something like that, and that person would just vanish. And his thing was, like, he said, I'm taking you where you need to go. He didn't really talk much, he didn't interact much, he was always kind of, like, he has this thing, like, originally, he was all in black because the idea is that, like, again, to look like a train conductor, but also kind of to be like, well, he always hides in, like, the shadows. So, like, he's the thing that's, like, always out of the corner of your eye, but you're not really sure you saw it or not. And for some reason, my group is in Waterdeep. They're chasing down a demon cult, you know, as you do in D&D. And for some reason, they all just kept chasing after the conductor instead, because, again, this guy who's literally just been there to be an NPC to give me a reason as to why characters aren't in sessions. Of course, I should have known they would chase after him instead, so turns out that, I know, I should have seen it coming. And it's not like I could have definitely gotten rid of the character that I wanted to, but it was also... Waterdeep is a very fun location. That's where our party's base is. They have a tavern there called the Duck Pond. So their like main location is Waterdeep. That's their home. That's where Arc 3 will ultimately end. We have a player in college who's frequently missing, and when he's not there, his character just finally falls and then comes back to life when he's there. Well, it really also depends on the character too. Like, some characters, like, I have my one friend who he kind of pops in and out with, and he'll just sometimes change what character he's playing because he can't commit to the full campaign. So he kind of just plays random, like, NPCs sometimes, or he'll play a character and I'll be like, okay, well, she's off doing her job right now. You know, like, there are ways to explain around that. It only is a problem if, like, you know, you're a character who is currently in the current, like, plot, and important to the current plot. Like, we've run into that problem sometimes. Like, a character might be, this is their backstory, and the character's not there. And so you just kind of, like, roll with it as best you can. But, yeah, I was trying to find a way to... Because I don't like having, like, a character be there, but then they're not really there. Because I don't like generally doing things with people's characters when they're not there. I will sometimes when it absolutely has to. But, oh, that's where our campaign started, but now we are on playing. Yeah, this party has started in Waterdeep. They've gone to the Feywild. They very, very briefly went to the Shadowfell. They've been to the Astral Plane because that's, again, the campaign became solely focused on, like, essentially the conductor and his whole deal. And then, you know, originally he was one character based on a player character I had made a long time ago that I wanted to do. He was actually very strongly based off, like, just regular train conductors, like from the Polar Express or from like a Hat in Time. That's why his name was just the Conductor. But because I didn't have a name for him at the time, and it just sounded cooler. But then like later on as I went, I was like, okay,
His name is also Elias.
it would be funny if his name was... We have a lot... Madeline played in Elias, another one of our players played in Elias, and they all were like in the same location, and then she also, because she's like a little hobo man, she claimed to have a twin named Elias. It was, the amount of hilarity what's happened in our streams. But, we had this conductor guy, and I originally wasn't sure. Since I had one that was all in black, my natural thing is, like, I love opposites, I love foil characters, so I made one that was a white colored conductor instead. And originally these were supposed to be the same character in just, like, two sides of the same character. But then as it went on, I decided to make them into two separate characters to kind of make a little intrigue as far as where the other one was at. That they are, like, meant to be together. They're clearly two halves of one whole, but, like, the other one was off somewhere and was only communicating with one of the party characters. This also ended up biting me in the butt because that player ended up being missing for a lot of the second arc. So the players knew that the white conductor existed, but their characters didn't because her character never actually told anyone. So it was kind of one of those things where it was like, it was like the Loch Ness Monster or something, where all the players knew the white conductor existed, but they couldn't ever bring it up in roleplay because none of their characters knew it existed and no one was telling them. So it was just like I had to kind of like force the situation for them to know so they could know like the plot going on with the conductors. But I started out with a module. I originally had an idea for the conductors essentially just to be the way for them to travel between planes easily because of my world. It's essentially D&D, but with a couple of extra rules. Is like any sort of planar magic doesn't work anymore. There's no way to easily travel between planes. The only way you get there is from like cracks in the like astral fabric. So like teleporting magic does work only on its own plane, and like moving between planes is virtually impossible. You can do it, it's incredibly risky, it takes a lot of magic, you might die in the process. So like moving between planes hasn't happened, and no one really knows when it started. There's like history that seems to record, but the biggest the kind of the twist of it is that no one really knows when this happened. There's a couple of things that like history says should have happened but are not quite accounted for. So I'm stuck in a new crystal and now been stuck inside for 500 years. That's a good one. That's a good one. Stuck inside. Time skips can be fun if they're really like small time skips can sometimes be fun, and then big time skips can be fun to see how like the status quo has changed. So yeah, the reason the conductors existed initially and the train existed was to give them a way to travel between planes, and that was essentially my way of like hand waving away if we went from one module to the next that weren't in the same location. To be like, oh, well, you rode the train. That's how they got to the Witchlight Carnival and like the Feywild, is that they rode the train. And the reason they rode the train is because since there was no travel between planes, they needed to find the Witchlight Carnival. The Witchlight Carnival had not changed which plane it was on in a long time, so the train actually took them back in time to a point where the Witchlight Carnival was on the material plane so they could get to it, which was kind of funny because like one of the characters had died at that point, so we're like, wow, if we went into that city right now, we'd find that person still alive. Thankfully, none of them pursued that because I didn't really want to do a time travel thing because time travel can always be a little weird, but we're like legends of the world because we've been around forever. Yeah, exactly. It is actually. Funny enough, the conductor and the way the train works is incredibly similar to the Astral Express. But again, I made all this before the Astral Express existed, before Star Rail existed. So it actually was just kind of funny at the time. I remember when I played Star Rail for the first time and I saw the opening screen, I took a screenshot of it and said, okay, everyone, this is what the train looks like in our campaign. Officially, this is what the train looks like. This because it also moves in a very similar way. The train in my campaign travels through the astral plane, which is essentially just become like a dumping ground because no one's been able to get to it for a long time. That's also my way of tying in like the fact that like one of the other campaigns we had done was Spelljammers. So essentially my way is like essentially every campaign I've been in or my players have been in is canon to my world. So like we did a campaign in Xandria, the Critical Role setting. And so that world does exist. That reality does exist in my campaign, in my greater world. It's just it's on the other side of the astral plane. So people can get there to and from. The train can get there to and from. It can take people from different realities and bring them back in the same one. That's how like my one player could bring his character from that world into this world, or like Malian's character at some point went from our campaign into the other campaign. So yeah, essentially the way I look at it is that every reality of every campaign I've been in or my players have been in is canon to this world. It's just a matter of where it happened in the timeline. And also there's another, they haven't figured it out yet, and I'm not going to say it on stream because I know some of them are watching. But like there's another trick to like how this world works that they're going to come upon pretty soon. That is also explanation as to why these multiple realities can exist at the same time. But it'll be fun when we get to that eventually. But it was kind of funny that I was like, oh hey, this is literally the Astral Express, because it moves in the same way too. It can be like you don't want to be on the outside of the train when it's moving, because it can like move in really ridiculous ways. They had a brief fight on one of them, and the idea is that like the train cars are impenetrable from the outside. Someone burst one open from the inside, and so they were fighting like creatures from the astral plane. And then there's this whole thing about the fact that like A couple, like, the characters did figure out eventually that, like, there are 2 conductors, not 1. But there's, you know, like, they figured out, like, you know, part of the lore was, like, there is usually 1. For some reason, there's 2 right now. And that's not normal. And they've only met 1. For some reason, the other one's missing. And they, like, there's a clear, like, I would, it's always so hard sometimes because I'm not a great, like, I'm no voice actor. So sometimes it's hard, like, to portray it. But, like, one of the things that they had to do was, like, you know, whenever they would meet the black conductor, is that, like, he sometimes leaves pauses when he talks. He always makes things in 2s. He's always like, well, like,
Never caught on to that.
well, yeah, it was one of the things, like, because they whenever they interact with him in the main world, he actually doesn't look like he normally does, because essentially he changes his appearance just so much. Like, he still have enough things that are just off-putting enough to pick up that he's not from that world. Like, he would look like someone who belongs necessarily in, like, if he was on the Source Coast or in Waterdeep, he might look like, you know, someone who's, like, in, like, a nice suit or something like that. But he looks just a little too modern to fit the time period. But if he was in a modern place like Eberron, he might, like, look just a little too fantastical to fit the time period. Like, everywhere he goes, he fits in enough, but is just off-putting enough to also be like, this person shouldn't be here, or they're not meant to be here. He only looks in his natural form, in his, like, full uniform and stuff like that, when he's on the train. Because otherwise, he's not supposed to be making a fuss. He's just there to pick up passengers. And people, you know, oftentimes it's just people find a ticket in their pocket, and then next thing they know, they see him in, like, in an alleyway somewhere. And they'll be like, oh, who are you? That happened to the players, like, several times. Let me count for a second. 7, 8... 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, like, you know, like, if you were playing with us and you had a character, like, in another reality who came to this reality, I'd be like, okay, let me figure out how that works. So I like doing that. I like something that, like, one of my players, he's probably watching right now. One of my players always now has come into the assumption that he's always like, every time I have a player character, it'll probably appear in my campaign at some point. And that's just because I think that's a fun thing to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, like, I don't know. I think it's fun. Because I've had this, like, this is also why I started DMing. I have, like, a D&D curse where, like, most of the campaigns I would be in would get to, like, level 3 or get to, like, the 3rd session. And then they would spontaneously stop. Like, scheduling, someone got in a car wreck, like, all their stuff was stolen. The best one was I started a campaign, we literally got to the third session, and then COVID shut down the world. So, sorry if I caused COVID with my D&D curse. But, so, I have all these player characters that I liked, but never got to be used more than 2 sessions. So, I would bring them in as player characters. As, DM PCs, so to speak. They're usually just there to help the story along. Like, the one that we had most recently was just in the town to give them someone to talk to. I really liked him. He was, very casino vibes. I played him for one shot on my birthday, and I really liked him, because his whole thing was he was he had the Cardmancer fee, so his whole thing was cards as, like, a spellcasting thing. He is a bard. And I really liked him. And then I realized he was, like, the splitting image of a character I played in Star Rail. So, again, weird things just happen sometimes where I'm like, I'll make characters, I'll make concepts, and somehow it appears in Star Rail somewhere. I'll be like, how did I do that? There's literally, again, another, like, gambler casino character in Star Rail that literally is the same exact, like, backstory and everything, same vibes as this character I made in, like, years ago for this casino one-shot. And I'm just like, how do I do that? How does that keep happening? So, like, the thing that will happen is that they would get interactions with the conductor, like, they met him once or twice on the train, which is where he's, like, in his most natural state. So they would, like, talk to him, and they would notice, and, like, I don't think many people I don't think many people picked up on it, but, like, I have a couple of people, like, I have, like, 3 note takers. I have like 3 people who like take notes in my campaign, which is good because it means there's some people who are like. The funny thing is that like I see they'll like tell me they're like conspiracy theories on like where they think the campaign's going, and most of the time I'm like, you're actually pretty close. You have a few things wrong, but you're actually pretty close on a lot of accounts. And then that that makes them all excited because they're like, oh cool. I'm like, actually a lot of them are pretty close to what's going on. Not exactly. Like I had this one of our players who I make playlists for my characters, and I always like to like the way I choose songs for a character playlist like on Spotify is I'll go and be like, okay, these describe the character and their journey, so I'll usually put the playlist in the order of how like the character's journey goes. So I made one for the black and white conductors, and I said essentially like, if you follow along with the vibes of the songs and what the lyrics of these songs say, you can kind of pick up on their storyline. So I had one of my players literally went song by song on both playlists and gave like her like opinion and read on what was happening in each of the different things, and she actually got really close. She was wrong on like 2 major points, but actually the majority of the stuff she guessed at was very close, if not dead on. So I was actually pretty impressed with that. I was like, oh, you got it. They're still kind of missing a few details, but I mean, I think people are being pretty close at this point. So like the biggest thing that like they picked up on at the time with the conductor was like the fact like again, like one of our characters, she's playing a genie right now. She picked up on the fact that like she had lunch with him and noticed that every time when he was eating something, he always split it in half, and would just leave the other half there. Like only ever ate anything like for himself, like of one thing. Like if there was tea, he poured 2 cups of tea. If there was a sandwich, he split it in half and leave half of it behind. Like clearly, and then like sometimes he would say things and just leave a pause afterwards. Like clearly it was one of those things where he's like, okay, he's missing someone else, and then when they found out about the white conductor, like, oh, well, that's the other half that he's missing right now. I don't think anyone's quite gone the relationship between the 2 of them yet, but, they'll either happen or won't happen. It's really kind of, because it all does come down to how well I'm telling the story, too, so I do feel that sometimes. I'm definitely a better storyteller in writing than I am in speaking, but I got aspirations for storytelling at the very least. So they go and the difference is like, for instance, that they also are supposed to have like they have very different personalities as well. So like that kind of caused problems with our one player who got to know the white conductor first. Is like the black conductor is he's a little grim. They're based on they were originally inspired by a pair of characters in Pokemon who again are a black and white train conductor duo who have the way I like this is that they're twins. So like, but normally when you do like the twin archetype, you make them opposites half the time. The reason I liked it in the way they did it in Pokemon was like, these are 2 characters that are, yes, in black and white, so therefore your instinct is to say they're opposites. They actually are very similar. They, yes, have different ways of going about it. I like it because it's essentially showing the different ranges in autism, because they're definitely both very autistic characters. Obviously, they love trains. But, like, I like the fact that, like, it was just essentially 2 ways that this, like, mental thing can present itself. So, like, there's the one that, like, has the more stereotypical version of, like, having autism and being, like, he talks in incomplete sentences, is always very, energetic, really only wants to talk about what he wants to talk about, sometimes a little blunt, and doesn't quite get people, does a lot of, overactive movements to kind of, like, essentially stimming and stuff like that. But then, like, his brother, who I also think is definitely very autistic as well, is kind of like the opposite side, which is where I'm more in terms of the spectrum as far as, like, that's the character I relate more to. I relate to them both, but, like, I relate more to is because it's the idea of, like, he's, always has one expression, which always looks very grim, so he's always looks like he's frowning. But, like, he's, like, not intentionally doing that. Like, he has, like, this one quote that's actually kind of just slightly funny, slightly sad, where he's just, like, he's like, my brother keeps telling me to smile more, and I'm like, I do smile. I smile whenever I'm happy, when I'm battling, when I'm doing stuff, and then you're like, dude, your expression never changes, and he's like, what? Like, he's unaware of the fact that he looks all stone-faced most of the time, and since he doesn't have a very expressive voice, he just gets louder whenever he's excited, which is what I do a lot. I don't have a lot of, like, intonation to my voice. I have a pretty monotone voice, but when I'm excited, I tend to just get louder. My mom can attest to this. I tend to do this. I also have one of those voices that's just kind of the low register that either sounds very quiet in a location or very loud in a location. It's just no in between. And also the fact that, like, the other thing that, like, he has a very formal way of speaking, but it's not in the way of, like, I know how to socially work this. It's more like I speak in, like, you know, which is kind of something I do as well. Is like you speak more formally, kind of like by not knowing how to do the situation. So you kind of like go and be like, okay, this is how social conventions should work. If I apply the rules properly, I'll have a good interaction with humans. And that's kind of how I look at it sometimes, is that, like, I don't always know how to interact with people, so sometimes I just go off of, like, you know, stuff. So anyway, there's these two characters I really like in Pokemon. And so that's kind of how I made my characters, as far as I wanted to make them be, like, they are, they have very similar motivations. They just might go about it differently. So that's kind of the deal with the black and white conductors, where it'd be like, it's almost like, it's like, essentially it's like you split the emotions of one person and, like, split it down the middle and, like, just divvied out the two halves. So, like, when they interact with the black conductor, he's very polite, he's very self-sacrificing, he's very empathetic, he feels a lot of pain for people's sufferings. He's on the more quiet side. He also is very long-winded, so he talks in riddles around and round, and it drives my sister crazy. But, yeah, that's also, yeah, that's me kind of just being me sometimes. But, and he, he's naturally protective, defensive, so it means that, like, he always will go and try and defend someone. He won't ever act directly. He's very passive, so, like, he will never attack someone directly. If someone is in danger, though, he will go and protect them without thought. You know, like, and that's also, he keeps to the shadows, doesn't like to be seen, as opposed to, like, you know, the white conductor they meet to, it speaks much more shortly, he's a lot more rude, he's more sarcastic, he wants things done now, and is the more attacking of the two, who will be much more aggressive, and be, which, again, didn't work well for my one player who met him in the early game, because she assumed that he was just being mean. I'm like, no, that's me trying to show you something. It would make more sense if he interact with other characters, so I tried to show that when he interact with the other characters. He would just kind of blatantly call them insults and be very blunt. But he doesn't mean anything by it, it's just that's the way he is. So he talks very directly, and they're both very autistic. It's strange, sometimes my Mallie will go and be like, it's funny that you have these characters that are very similar to you. I'm like, yep, because I know how to be an autistic person. And trying to be a normal person is hard. So, we have these two characters, and so his thing is that, like, you know, he's not necessarily mean, but, he's also, like, the reason he kind of clashed with the one character he kind of made a pact with, and she was, like, a warlock for him for a while until, like, you know, essentially, it was a character-driven moment. It was hard on the group in general, but, like, he wants actions now. He has, like, one concern and one thing he's driven to do, so everything else he does not care about. So, like, when she's trying to be, like, you know, friendly and be like, hey, can I call you a name? And he's like, no, my name's the conductor, moving on. She's like, would you mind wearing...
It's like the typical people you've seen in a show like House from House MD or Sherlock from the BBC show. I feel like it's a very common, like, male...
I'm willing to relate it to Sherlock. I hated House. That's needlessly mean.
Yeah.
I watched my family watch that show, and I think it was one of those things where they kind of just completed it to complete it, but I'm like, I think there's a difference between showing someone who is, again, to come back to Star Rail again, they have this one character who I've been talking to Mallie about a lot, who I think does this ideal best, as far as being a character who's incredibly blunt and severe, but is not cruel. And that's a hard thing to do. Because essentially, and that's when you have to be, because most people want to judge someone based on their words, and maybe their intonations. So making people, you know, pay attention to a character off of their actions, and what their actions mean, like, this character they have in, like, Star Rail, is that, again, he's very harsh and very direct, but it's never from a place of malice. It's from a place of not wanting to waste time, and to not want to give people, like, sugary promises that mean nothing. It's to be like, I'm going to be honest with you so you know what you're up against. And, you know, and I also don't like to waste time, and I don't like to be, looked down on. So, you know, it's kind of that vibe with the White Conductor as far as he likes things to go fast. And also, he was in a very precarious situation. That kind of came to a head in this arc. So he was in a really tight situation, and he was like, he doesn't like passengers anymore. He used to. He doesn't really anymore, which kind of has to do with the way that it's been hinted at a little bit. But there's a lot of secrets behind the train. There's a lot of secrets behind the conductors. There's kind of this hint that they used to be a like I said, in this world, there's no way to travel between the planes. So it used to be like the trains and the conductor used to be a common knowledge thing. It's not anymore. No one really knows why. It's hard to find them in like history anywhere. Only like some very ancient characters know of their existence. But so it's like they used to be a well-known thing. The party hasn't really figured out why they aren't now. But it's kind of implied that, like, you know, they kind of work in the shadows now. Like, that's why their train went from something that was above ground to something below ground. So, in something that moves in the shadows and stuff like that now, and most people don't know about them, is so, like, the Black Conductor will service passengers all day long, and he'll always put their needs first before his, regardless of how they treat him. Because, honestly, some of the characters in the first, some of our player characters in the first arc treated him pretty poorly because he did just do things without explanation, and he refused to explain himself because he couldn't. It's against regulations for him to do it. You know, like, he follows the things to the letter. They're lawful neutral characters, so, you know, they will act when it's important for them to act, but they generally are balance keepers more than anything. So, like, you know, so, like, some of the characters were frustrated with the fact that he just showed up and never explained anything to them. And, you know, some of them even, you could say, were mean to him because of that. And that's not something he takes personally. He understands that's the way the passengers are sometimes. And so, like, he would literally be like, if you have anger and you wish to hurt me, go ahead. I can heal myself instantly. If that will make your ride more pleasant, then I'll allow you to do it. Well, like, you know, the White Conductor would be the exact opposite. He'd be like, we're providing a service to you for free. And sometimes to our own detriment, and more importantly to my other half's detriment, so the least you can do is show some respect, you know. They have like two big motivators. One is to protect each other, but like the other one, I don't think anyone's figured it out yet. And we'll see at some point. But, okay. String stuck. So we'll see if and when they figure that out, but so like one of the big things that like the White Conductor is against is like, so he's trying to like, he's very protective of his other half. He's trying to protect him even though he can't get to him. He's trapped somewhere that was revealed very early on, and so he had no means of interacting, so he had to interact through a passenger, which he didn't want to do because he doesn't like how the passengers kind of can be very rude, can be very cruel towards, and there's a passenger in particular that was very bad. I don't think that story's come up yet in canon yet, but to his other half, to his brother. So like, he's kind of held a grudge against them ever since because he thinks that they're, you know, selfish and cruel, which, you know, does happen with people. I'm also taking that from the fact of like, I remember watching like a top 10 like train and subway facts, and like the way that sometimes the like culturally, it's funny how like public transport people are treated depending on where you're at, you know, like trains in like Japan versus trains in America, and even trains in America, like how the trains are run in North Carolina is very different like than how like the subways run in New York, you know, like they can be incredibly cruel to the people who like, you know, run the train system. So I wanted to throw a little bit of that in there too, of like the idea of like, hey, these are civil servants essentially, but sometimes they get beaten up. And which doesn't bother them. I mean, the other thing is they have control over time to some extent. The party hasn't really figured out how or why or what yet, because it's just something that's not coming up yet, but they're going to learn pretty soon. So, like, you know, that's why they're unbothered. Like, you can try and fight them. You can't fight someone who can literally move in between the seconds and can undo any damage you can do to them in a second. So they're, like, people that you don't want to be fighting under any circumstances. But, that's why they're not bothered by it. So, like, you know, the Black Conductor doesn't take it personally if someone goes and rips his arm off because, like, they're, you know, trying to resist going where they're supposed to go, because they both also have a special connection with life and death. Like, for instance, in our first campaign, we had our one of our player characters made a deal with the Black Conductor, and he essentially traded her lives for that of, like, hundreds of others who had died unjustly that night, had died essentially from a massive cult attack. And so he says, like, I can change their destinations, their final destinations, but it had to be a trade. And so she traded her life to essentially save her party, as well as everyone else who had died that night. So he essentially just rewound time so that no one had a memory of what happened that night. The player characters vaguely knew because they had interacted with him before, so they were, like, less affected by it. But, like, everyone else just assumed they went to a party and, like, you know, just got blackout drunk. They didn't realize that they had all been, like, sacrificed for, like, Asmodeus sort of thing. But, like, you know, that's something the Black Conductor can do. He can go and, like, trade people out. He can, like, change life and death, so he can, like... Essentially, the way it works is, like, he can go and, essentially change the tracks of death, and then his other half can change the tracks of life. So, like, you know, if he can bring someone to their final destination, he can bring someone to death in order to, like, reverse it in, like, a trade like that. And then, like, the other one's done a couple times, like Malin's character, and another character is, like, he can make it so the White Conductor has done it where, like, people who are meant to die, he can bring back to life and give them more time. Obviously, there's also a caveat to that as well. As there always is, nothing comes for free. But, like, that's why they have, like, different opinions and stuff like that, and that's why people have different views of them, because, you know, the Black Conductor is coming for you, and he might be taking you to a new location, or he might be there to take you to your final destination, aka your death. So, not everyone's very happy to see him half the time, so he does take a lot of bad customer service doing his job, which is why the White Conductor doesn't like people, because he doesn't like the fact that, you know, people can be kind of cruel to them sometimes, and they're just supposed to take it, and they're just supposed to, you know, continue doing their job as if nothing happens. So that's why he's a little bit more bad-tempered. But that is hard to get across, all that lore and character design that I have in my head when I'm trying to play these characters in a D&D campaign, because I have all this knowledge. But, like, in the very beginning, their lore did fluctuate a lot, but even by the second arc, it's like, I have my one character who has, like, is that good enough, or should I give it one more? I did, like, one. Yeah, I guess that's fine.
What are you making?
I'm trying to do a Chica, but I'm kind of...
Not
like,
paying attention because you're trying
no, it's more like I'm not doing it based on pattern. This is one of the ones where I do the pattern, but I'm kind of, like, creating the appearance as I go, so I'm kind of looking at it and being like... It's like when I make my Withered Bonnies, I'm technically not following the pattern, I'm technically kind of, like, looking at it and be like, okay, what should I do to make the effect I'm looking for? So doing something for the first time is always kind of like, okay, is this going to look right when it's done? And I don't know, because I won't know until it's done. So I'm kind of just looking at it and being like, this will probably look fine, we'll see. But, so you have, like, just, we had the, see how all the fun systems work. Let me answer my Discord chat. So, like, we had this, like, so the one character who has, like, you know, is trying to have this relationship with, like, the White Conductor, and she is, like, I can't get across why he's mean. I have to just be like, okay, they're gonna figure this out eventually, but for a while everyone's like, she's like, does he just hate me? I'm like, no, he does this with everyone. You just don't know that because he's not met anyone else. He's only talked to your character. So you kind of have to be like, no, he doesn't hate you. Until, you know, her character did do some things later on that made him not like her. But in the beginning, it definitely was not personal. And also, I generally like to be nice in my campaigns. I definitely like characters who like, you know, I don't ever like playing evil characters, even as villains. I don't like playing, I never allow evil PCs because I don't think there are a rare breed of role players who can do evil PCs and do it correctly and do it in a way that does not hurt the other people at the table. I've been on the receiving end of evil PCs before, and it has definitely ruined my game. So I don't like doing that. I don't like doing characters that are cruel. I will do characters that are sarcastic. I will do characters that are tricksy. I will do characters that like can do other stuff. I don't generally like to be cruel. Because the problem is that you have, it depends on who you're playing with. Because you have to understand, kind of all of you have to come with this understanding of like, what I'm doing with your character right now does not have to do with you as a person. You know? And it can be hard sometimes. So, you know... so...
I lost my hunter's hands.
He's just a guy. What happened to his hands?
They're in my sticker thing. He's supposed to have little hands. Don't know where they are. Here's the little Freddy. I'm gonna write that note up real quick to that person's order.
Should I do 2?
What if husband?
So technically this head's going to be a lot larger than normal is supposed to be because I added a couple extra rows on it. So we're going to see if this still looks right afterwards or if I have to do it. Again, that's the thing. I'm looking at a pattern for the basics, but then I'm also changing it to look like something else. Because I've been doing a lot of like these FNAF alts. Where it's like it's a FNAF pattern, but then I change it to look like different versions. Like I've done a bunch of different Freddys. Like I've done Freddy Fazbear, but also Shadow Freddy and Nightmare and Lefty and Funtime Freddy, who I'm not doing again because I've done that one 3 times now and I only wanted to do it once. But people bought it, so it happened. I have a...
Doing right now, so I'm going to start packing.
Yeah, Mallion's actually working on packing an order. It's a fine line to walk playing an evil character, but it can be... And here's the difference, and that's the thing. If someone asked me if they could play an evil character, I would ask them why they want to play an evil character versus a chaotic character, which I think are different. An evil character, in my opinion, means that your goal you're trying to do is, at the end of this campaign, you want your character dead, or you want them to turn into a villain. That's my only reasoning I can see for being an evil character. Because while I don't put a whole lot of stock in alignments, I think they are still important to have as a guideline. But, like, you know, namely just, I think lawful versus chaotic is more important than, like, good versus evil. Because it essentially is just the difference. Like, the reason I call, like, the conductors lawful neutral is essentially just to say, like, neutral in the fact that, like, that they will not lean to good or evil in any way. They don't really care. And then lawful because they follow, like, they're rule followers. They follow their regulations. If it's in the rules, then yes, they'll do it. If it isn't in the rules, then they won't. They are principled. They will always follow certain things. Like, if I haven't seen, granted, let's go to Genshin for a minute, I haven't seen this character in-game. But based on everything I know about, like, Zhongli, who's my favorite character, on appearances and lore stuff I know about him, and, you know, I like a good dragon character, I would say he's a lawful neutral character. Because while this character is still, and I think he's becoming lawful good, but, like, I think this is definitely, for the most part, a lawful neutral character, because this is a character that's very principled, will never break his own rules, and that doesn't necessarily change what the character's personality is. He's still very kind, he's wise, you know, has his own little quirks and stuff like that, but this is a character who is becoming more where he's doing things that are selfless, and you can definitely make an argument for someone who's definitely been neutral but can lean good more often than not, because I see good as, like, selfless versus selfish is evil versus good. So, like, I would say that he's a lawful neutral character just because of the fact that, like, he has helped a lot, but he also is not going to solve everyone's problems. Like, he has done that in the past, but he's also not going to, and also, like, he's also someone that, like, if you went and crossed him, is someone who would definitely rain down fiery death on you. That's principled. That's, you broke my laws, I gave you a rule, and you broke it, so now I'm going to cause, you know, repercussions. You know, that's lawful, so I would say he's a lawful neutral character that has become over time more lawful good. Just But I still would say lawful neutral because he doesn't seem like someone who, like, in a grand conflict will do the side on good just because it speaks good. He seems like someone who would read the room first, read the terrain. Long-lived characters tend to lean neutral because they've seen the ramifications of both evil and good. So they tend to wait it out first. That's why I feel a neutral character is. That's why my characters are lawful neutral. We had a character who kept attacking the others in our party with little I think that says provocation or coercion.
Provocation, you're right.
Yeah. And he was lawful neutral, and the DM made him change his line to chaotic neutral. That's also another thing. There's a difference between chaotic and chaotic stupid, which is what a lot of people relate to that. Well, some people say chaotic neutral, and what they mean is chaotic stupid. And what that means is that at the end of the day, we are playing characters in a game. This is actually something I kind of ran into when I played a game with a bunch of characters who were playing, like, evil characters. Or the players just wanted to play a game where they could do evil things without repercussions. And I think in any well-done, like, fantasy game, there should be repercussions for actions. Now, granted, you're also like, okay, I don't mind being... Like, our characters, technically speaking, have done some very evil things before. They all started in jail. They've been in jail, like, 5 times. They've definitely broken some laws. But they never do it...
Like 10 people up.
We had someone who blew, like, 10 people up in the middle of a festival. He still to this day is like, they were definitely cultists. I'm like, no, one of them was, maybe... it was funny though. He literally just like mincemeat them just because he rolled high and they were peasants, so they had like 10 HP. And you're like, you roll like a 30. Unfortunately, you just like eviscerated them into a fine mist. Yeah, tabletops are the best, man. And so they are a chaotic group. I wouldn't say they're necessarily evil, even though they broke a lot of laws and they did find ramifications to that because it's never done maliciously. It was more done by coincidental accident a lot of the times. Sometimes they didn't know they were breaking rules. Sometimes they were just like, wait, that happens? They'll be like, I broke the law and then this thing happened. I'm like, yes, in a city that has a lot of very intense laws, they are going to do that to you. You know, it also depends on character. Alignment issues are usually come down to not conversing properly with your DM before you start. That's why session zeros are important. Make sure... And this is why I think that when we did, like, the one campaign I was in, where I was with a bunch of evil characters, I think we should have had session 0 for that party, so that the players could say what they want to do. Because the biggest thing I think in session 0 you need to be is, like, what sort of fantasy are you pursuing? Like, in my case, I like having characters that have a bit of trauma, and maybe a little bit of a dark backstory, but I want them to see redemption at the end of the day. I want my characters to be airheads, dude. I want no trauma. And that's the difference, is that, like, some characters are like Malian's characters, like my one friend's character, who are, like, they are not there to do a big story. They just want to make friends. They want to do goofy things. You want to dance on tabletops. But it's not like you want to cause chaos. You just want to do silly things and not keep track of what's going on. That's a fair thing to do. And also, I think you need a bit of both. You need both storytelling characters, but you also need people who are going to bring levity. That's what makes a group, like, last, I think, over time, is a mix of personalities. But you also can't go into it and be like, again, like I played in my game, I came with this character who, again, we were supposed to be playing a darker campaign. I came in with a character who had, like, a dark history following her, but I wanted at the end of the day for her to be, like, she was tempted by the darkness, but she ultimately goes to the light anyway. And she still is a dark character. She still has no issues with, like, you know, killing if it's required of her, but, like, death was very important to her. So, like, she would kill, but not without reason. Like, she would kill when a monster, but not a person. What defines a monster is just something that, you know, kills without reason. Something that does not take take death as an important thing. So people could be monsters if they kill without reason. And a monster could be a person if it has consideration for death. That was, like, you know, our group extremely, yeah. And so, like... You could have, that's the thing that was important to her. But then she was in a table of, again, a lot of evil characters, and also a lot of characters who just wanted to do things without repercussions. Be like, I'm going to take this person's stuff from their store, and that's just it. If someone tries to fight me, I kill them. And I'm like, I didn't really like that sort of playtime style. And, you know, sometimes it's just certain players are looking for different things, and certain players just don't mix. I've played in a lot of murder hobo campaigns, unintentionally, mind you. But I also in college I played in D&D groups that were like 99% guys, and nothing against guys. I have most of my friends are guys, especially were in college. But I played with a lot of guys who just wanted to destroy things and sleep with things. So, you know, I had one campaign I was in that made me afraid to be the only girl in the room when he was describing what he was doing at a brothel. And I'm like, I feel like I need to slowly back out because I'm the only girl in the room right now among 6 guys, and I'm feeling a little unsafe. You know, like that's why session 0 is important, in my opinion. You have to go and make sure everyone's on the same page of what they want out of this campaign. So, like, because I think, that's why I'm kind of excited for a Straw campaign, because I love Gothic. Gothic is essentially beauty and suffering. It's finding darkness and finding something beautiful out of it. But it's not explicitly evil. And usually it is, you are showing the beauty in darkness, you're showing the beauty in, like, you know, the macabre. But that's the point. It's not to show that, like, life is hopeless. It's actually finding hope in darker areas. We have one character who's only goes to burn down as many doors as possible. And see, like, the motivation behind that would be different. Like, for instance, Mally's character might be someone like that. She's a bag of infinite socks and potatoes, and she's beaten people with a potato and a sock before.
Technically, Melly owns those now. I just lost them today.
Yeah, well, you did do it before, though.
Legally,
But, like...
I do miss them.
she does... Mally did just recently lose her bag of infinite socks. She gave it to another character.
I'm very sad.
It was a character moment. But, if you're going around doing that like a funny thing, then that's fine. You know, like Critical Role has famously their issue with getting past doors. They can beat a dragon, but they can't get past the locked door. That is a funny thing. But if your character going in and being like, I'm going to kill every bartender I meet, and it's just going to, because I want to cause chaos, and I want to see what the DM's going to do, then that's not as fun. Because I've played with those characters before who they just want to cause problems for causing problems, and this also comes into the issue of sometimes you have power gamers who literally are going to see if they can break the rules, which you can, but then that screws it for the rest of you. I can never play Mutants Masterminds anymore, which essentially is superhero D&D, because I've played with too many power gamers that ruined the game for me. Because they would play like these ridiculously powerful builds, and I would just build them based on, like, I want to be someone who has angel powers. I want to be someone who's a phoenix. Or stuff like that. And my DM would just balance the encounters to account for those 2 power gamers. He had to make them really difficult, so me, who barely understood the rules, I got smashed down in every single encounter. I never understood how fighting worked because I usually got knocked out in round 1, so I never got better at it. And I would read the rules front and back. I do so much research when I go into any situation, more as a social thing, because I have a little bit more knowledge going into the situation. Hopefully I won't feel so anxious about it, because social anxiety is the best. But, I could never play those games because I kept getting smashed down because my DM just balanced it to account for those power gamers. So if you play a less than optimal build, then you're not going to have a fun time. And this also kind of runs into, like, the whole discussion about homebrew. You know, like, we had one character in the campaign I played, again, I bring up just because it's the one I played most recently. We had someone who had used some homebrew stuff that was definitely broken. Like, it was like, okay, this is too much. Well, also, I was like, I played Ranger thematically, because I thought thematically it made sense to my character. Rangers aren't the best class in D&D, so if I'm playing in a game where we also have a rogue and a paladin, it can sometimes be hard for my character to feel useful in combat, because if the other 2 are doing 80, 90 damage a turn, and I'm like, okay, I did 23 damage a turn, that's not bad, but it's also not great. It's hard to feel useful sometimes. So, if everyone's doing their power fantasy of I want to be powerful, and I tend to make characters from a story perspective of, I'm using the class system to make an interesting build. Like, which is more the campaign I run, is the characters generally are built for character more than they are for combat, because we just don't do combat a lot. It takes a long time. Not everyone's very good at it. I don't think everyone gets a ton of... Some people like it. I don't think
combat, but I'm also the strongest member in our party.
Yeah, I don't think everyone enjoys combat much, because it slows down our... We have a lot of players. We have a lot of stuff.
Does this have nuts in it?
What?
These cookies from downstairs. I just broke that in half.
Which cookies are those?
The ones that were in the Ziploc bag downstairs.
Yes, those are those are his kitchen sink cookies. So I'm pretty sure they have nuts.
You want to give it to me? I'll eat it.
Yeah. Stuff.
Well, it's kind of hard for me to get up.
Ah, I don't know.
We have a lot of storyline. I think everyone does in a D&D campaign. It's the nature of the beast.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a moment to eat this cookie. Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of nut in here.
I don't know if they're like caramel chips or nuts.
They might be. It's probably both, actually.
So we had an issue of like one character who was homebrewed, so they were honestly way too powerful for what we were trying to do. And then we just had some stuff, but we were also a group of and I'm not saying this is bad. It only got bad at the end, but for the most part it was fine. The DM was pretty vigilant about it and keeping an eye on that sort of thing, and he gave us also a lot of like magic items and weapons, so we were all pretty powerful. It was just, you know, it became a character clash later on, but like I feel like you're gonna do you know, characters in, to go back to the thing about chaotic alignments and stuff like that. Chaotic, I think, is a really good one to do, because chaotic just means that, like, you're someone who's, like, less principled, so you might act more off the cuff. So, like, to go back to my example with my, like, gambler card dealer person, I could play him lawful in the fact of, like, for instance, the one, like, gambling-based character I like in Star Rail, I would say is actually more of a, like, as much as he behaves chaotically, I think he would be more of a leaning lawful alignment, because he follows rules very closely. He hates cheaters. He will never fix the game. And he always does things so that he's the only one who stands to, like, get hurt in any situation. And he follows that, like, very closely. So even though he's someone that comes off to everyone else as reckless, as always taking these wild bets and gambles from the outside, on the inside, he's someone who's very principled in a lot of ways. So how do you play alignment? That's why alignment has been something that's been debated since, like, essentially the mechanic came out. You know, like, people are like, how do you do alignment then, you know? So, like, chaotic is a weird one sometimes, and honestly, it really depends, because, like, I think we have some chaotic, like, a lot of chaotic characters in our campaign that all do it very differently. Like, some of them are very, I want to cause, you know, trouble, I might go dancing in a bar, you know, like, that's fine chaotic, or you might be the chaotic in the idea of, like, I love how, like, my one friend plays, the one who has the genie, I love how she plays things, because I like the fact that she, like, her character's is all about friendship and stuff like that. She plays things more passively, but also can do a lot of damage to protect her friends. And I like the fact that sometimes she'll go and be like, can I do this by doing a dance instead of doing this? And I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm also someone who will, like, I hate arguing the physics of a game. I hate arguing the logic of the game. Generally, if I say it's not happening, it's not happening. Because most of the time I will be there like, can I... Mallion's the one who does this to me the most, and I love it and hate it at the same time. Well, she's be like, can I go up to someone and offer them a potato carving in the form of a ring and propose to them? And I'm like, okay, make like a, you know, like a performance check, or like, you know, a handle, like a sleight of hand check, and be like, okay, that's a 23, and you're like, you now have a potato ring, go continue with your proposal. And she'll, like, make out a full, like, wedding speech. She actually, like, most famously in our Witchlight campaign, they were trying to sneak into this hag's workshop to get some item from her. And she went up and proposed to this hag. And, like, literally, like, just made some really good persuasion rolls. Also, sometimes I don't even make them roll persuasion, because I'm like, if you give me a speech that's good enough, then I'll be like, no, there's not really anything to debate there. So she literally proposed to this hag, and the next day, the way the players were able to sneak into her workshop was essentially they were the wedding receptions. So, like, they literally planned a full-on wedding in this hag's workshop, and it was one of my favorite things that they did, is that because, they were going full out. They're like, we're not just doing that to sneak in. We're gonna sneak in, yeah, but we're also going to actually make a wedding. Where they, like, had, like, party planners and everything, and, like, they managed to succeed and like, get the people out, but, like, and obviously they did ultimately fight the hag in the middle of in the wedding, like literally at the altar. But like, you know, if it makes sense, you know, and you give, like, you're willing to go forward with them, like, yeah, I'll let you have your hilarity, your insanity. There's obviously a limit, but as long as I think that, like, no, that makes sense. And there has also been some times when they've tried to pull things where I'm like, no, this character's not gonna do that. Like, what happened recently? There's something that happened fairly recently. Like, they were trying to, some character was trying to talk their way out of a situation by being kind of very blasé about it. I'm like, no, this character wants answers. You're not going to get away with a hand wave. You're going to have to explain how you're here and what you're doing. This character is going to follow you, and they're going to enact repercussions if you don't give them an explanation. But, like, I don't do that a lot. I generally keep things very loose as a DM, because I like to see creative thinking. As, again, someone with an attention deficit problem, I really reward divergent thinking. I really reward thinking outside the box, because that's the way my brain works. I can come up with 1,001 solutions, but not know how to enact any of those plans. Which is, again, why I think I work a little bit better as a DM than a player, because I can, a lot of my sessions, sometimes I'll go in with, like, a vague idea of what I want to accomplish, but how we get there, I won't have, like, a whole lot of ideas for, because I'll be like, I'll put something in my player's way, they'll come with some crazy thing to do. Half the time, they'll overguess my plans and assume that something really crazy is happening, and I won't even have to do anything. They'll just come up with a situation themselves, and then I just have to react and put the monsters on the board, you know? I enjoy playing a chaotic character, because I think that's because I like how I play a character like that. Yeah, well, again, I think that, like, honestly, that's why I look at it as more like principled versus unprincipled. Because, like, I will lean a lot. I think the only one that people don't really do a lot of is neutral, because people don't really understand how neutral works. But I'm like, I think lawful can be a lot of fun if you know how to play it. Like, the character that one of my former player characters I had, but essentially an NPC, the character that the party has been escorting for some time. And she's kind of been helping them out. Has kind of a budding romance with one of the characters, which I'm totally like, yes, I will let this happen. If you want this to happen, I will let this happen. I love having, always wanted to have a romance in a campaign. But, it's a really sweet or shy one, so I'm like, yeah, we can slow burn this as long as you want. But, like, her thing, she's a lawful good character, so essentially she tries not to break any rules. But also the fact is, like, you know, she's also kind of like, she's training to be, like, the Grandmaster of her monastery. She's gone out to see the world to kind of get an understanding of it, because she's been in the monastery her whole life. So she's a lawful good character. She won't obviously break any rules, but also she's, like, a principled character, so she's following, like, in some ways her own rules as well. So she's in an area that, like, you know, has rules that she thinks are unjust. Because, like, for instance, I would consider, like, Batman a lawful good character. Even though he's technically an outlaw in his own town, and he's technically going against what made the you know, he tries to be within the law, but he also has his own principles that he'll never break from. So, like, I play my character like that. She's lawful good. I actually have a poster somewhere that my friend made that's like, I'm lawful good, not lawful nice. Where, like, she doesn't put up with the party shenanigans a lot of the time. Sometimes we'll be like, we're gonna do this, and she's just like, okay, no, I'm going to my room until you guys are done with that. You know, because, like, she doesn't always want to put up with the shenanigans, because she's like, I feel like this just leads us into trouble a lot of times. But also, on the other hand, like, if they, like, give her a good reason as to why she's doing it, or, more importantly, if the person that she's kind of crushing on gives a good reason, then she'll usually go along with it. Because, again, people are people, and they're not logical 100% of the time. So, you can have a chaotic person that follows rules, and you can have a lawful person that is ready to pick a fight at any given moment. Like, it's really, that's what, the beautiful thing about character making in D&D in general, is being like, you can do pretty much anything. Just, like, have a like, I will allow pretty much anything in my games as long as you're like, give me a reason as to why you want to do this. And if the reasoning is good, they'll be like, yes, then all more power to you, I wish you the best of luck. But the answer is, like, you know, if you're a person who's just like, you know, I DM'd briefly for my brother in middle school, and we had someone who just was trying to steal chairs in every location, which was fine. I let go for a bit, but then it was, like, becoming, like, ridiculous, where I'm like, okay, the NPC has to give you the quest now, and they're like, no, I'm gonna try and break out and steal another chair. I'm like, no, it's my time to talk. You gotta wait. So I literally had his, like, this, like, this really, like, buff butler came in and just tied him up, because I was like, okay, I'm done doing this. You know, that's also, That's being a good player, though. Sometimes it doesn't even matter with characters. Sometimes you just have to be a good player and be like, okay, are we all on the same page? Like, when I run campaigns, I want to tell a story. I usually don't have a ton of combat because I'm just not great at running combat, I don't think. But, we might come and be like, I have this thing in mind, and I want to tell the story, and I want it to be impactful, so I want you to have a little buy-in in the story, so I would love to incorporate your character stories into this. But also, at the end of the day, when I'm going and telling you lore, I hope that, like, you're paying attention. Like, I am saying this for my own benefit, because I like to, but, like, also, like, I would not do well with a character who just wants to go and be like, I'm just going to go and sleep with everyone in town. And I'd be like, no, one, that's not realistic in a single night, but two, why? Why would your character do this? Is this something you as a player want to do, or does your character want to do? So, like, you know, it's kind of also just have a little table etiquette sometimes. You know, respect your DM, respect the other players. And that's the thing that kind of went a little off the rails in that one evil campaign I said I was in. Which wasn't really an evil campaign, just a lot of characters were very kind of evil-leaning. Like, we had a character who, technically speaking, was supposed to be, like, lawful good or chaotic good. And I'm like, you did some pretty evil stuff. But, again, technically speaking, that's not wrong. You know? And it's a fine line, too. So, like, in that one particular campaign, everyone came in being like, this is how I always play D&D. And I'm like, well, this isn't the way I like playing D&D. Because then, like, I want my character to have, like, a moment of growth. I want her to find some friends. And then I came to realize that what my character held important, like, for story purposes, like, she would not want to have anything to do with any of the players in the party. But as a player, I know that I'm playing a game, and the game only works if all the players are following the rules and trying to work with each other. So, like, if you have a table where the players aren't trying to work with each other, or some players are refusing to follow the rules, or refusing to stay immersed, or whatever, then you can have more issues, because then you're going to have, like... I got a little head. See? A little head. You're going to put some eyes on it. And then I'll probably call it for now, because that'll be, like, one eye... That'll be, like, one object that'll be done. And we need to get some dinner, yes. We need to celebrate my mom... and my sister, but my mom, because her birthday's closer right now. We'll celebrate you both. And so, like, the issue that arose with that particular instance with characters was just the fact, like, not everyone was on the same page in what they wanted to do. So, you know, like, one instances that we had, like, a character, like, my character in that campaign had, like, a love interest who, like, she was also, like, a snake person, so she didn't have emotions. She had to learn how to do emotions as she grew up, because, you know, snake people, the UNT in D&D, that's their lore, so I was trying to stick to that. And it was also me kind of projecting a little bit of my having issues with, like, naming emotions as someone with autism. So it's kind of like I was doing a little bit of both. And so, like, her whole thing was, like, she never felt love before, so there's one character she fell in love with, and I left the name blank. I didn't choose who she was in love with. I just told the DM, them, like, okay, I want her to have, like, a lover out there who she's looking for. You know, like, and this is important to her because, you know, she doesn't feel emotions very often, so finding this person she's in love with is, like, the one good thing she thinks she can do in her life. And when, you know, again, I don't blame the DM for this, but he made it that person she was looking for was another player's ex. Like... So, obviously, it came to a point at some point where, like, my character found the person she was looking for, and then it came out that that was that character's ex, so said character was pretty angry at my character for being like, hey, you went in with my ex, but, like, my character, from her perspective, was being like, well, again, not quite understanding how emotions work, she's like, but you broke up with her, so therefore, you should be done with that, and it should be okay for my character to be with her, and, you know, it turned into a thing that was like, okay, these characters do have to get along because they're in the same party. But then it turned into her character was attacking my character, and first I was okay with that, because I'm like, you know, sometimes a little player conflict is good for a story. But then it turned into, on every opportunity, her character was attacking my character, or saying something bad about my character, and I, as a player, was getting frustrated, and I should have brought it up earlier than I did. But it was like, there was a point where I'm just like, no, my character wouldn't stick around, so I had the character leave, and I played a different character afterwards, and I had more fun with that. But it's like, sometimes you have to go in and, like, if you're playing with a player who's going to be like, oh no, I'm going to hold everything against you, and without being like, oh hey, we have to get along, you know, for story, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For story reasons, because we are a team and we have to fight monsters as a team, so we can't be fighting each other. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, in order to actually win these fights. And that was where we ran into issues, was that we had... Like, the major boss fight was supposed to be a boss fight. It wasn't actually a boss fight. It was my character fighting her character, because essentially her character stole something very important from my character. It kind of, essentially, as a petty get back at, like, essentially, you know, how do you like feeling when stuff's stolen from you? Like, you stole my girlfriend, and, you know. We were dealing with the end of times, world endings issues, and so my character was just kind of like, really? You gonna be that petty right now? So our characters fought. Instead of fighting the main boss, I was literally standing over there. Our characters were trying to fight each other. And because her character was a rogue, mine was a ranger, I knew she didn't have a chance of hurting her. I knew she didn't have a chance of killing her because the other character we just had a lot more busted abilities at that point. So my character probably would have died, but it was also one of those things that, like, as a character and as a player at that point, I was, like, frustrated because I'm like, okay, we have to deal with, you know, the second coming of the spider goddess, but yeah, now's the time to air out our grievances about your ex, you know?
Luckily, I came in and helped.
Yes, Mallion's character did come in and provide some levity because, you know, she's a little naked halfling man, essentially, barbarian, who came and fought this giant spider god. So it actually was kind of funny. I think that'll work. So you got little eyes, and then she'll have a little beak right there later on. But pretty cool. Anyways, it was still a campaign I look back on fondly for the most part. It's just one of those things that, like anything else you love, I'm the same way with, like, you know, when I talk about Genshin Impact or I talk about Three Houses. I like to analyze what went wrong to try and figure out how it went wrong. And, you know, kind of be like, how does it not go wrong in the future, you know? So that's kind of why I bring that. I probably more often than, you know, my friends like to hear or my DM likes to hear, I bring it up a lot. It's not like a bad thing. It's more like I like to analyze it and be like, what went wrong here? You know, how do I avoid doing that in the future? Because I still love that character. I still enjoyed that campaign for the most part. I wrote a lot of good stories off of it. It was just one of those things that, like, in the end, like, I think all the other players in the group were trying for a different enjoyment than I was. And so that's why there was a little bit of miscommunication. And then once I changed my character to something that wasn't as serious, that's something that was more silly, I trained like a dragonborn druid that he just, like, loved making home-cooked meals and giving everyone hugs. And he was also, like, he did cremation at a funeral parlor, you know, to give him a connection to one of the other characters in the group. And when I played that more silly character who was just kind of like a kill them with kindness sort of character, I had way more fun. Because then it was like, I had no buy-in at that point. I was like, I didn't care what anyone else was doing. He went up and gave people hugs even if it made them uncomfortable. And will go up and be like, here, let me go give you a gift. Let me go make some cookies and stuff like that. I had more fun with that character afterwards. So sometimes you just gotta know what you're walking into. So this has been a good discussion. I've had a good time. I did manage to get my head done, so I admittedly probably talked more than I should have, but I did get my head done. So, that's probably where we're going to end for tonight. I do have to get dinner, but I enjoyed everyone to stop here. Is this something people enjoy? Would they like to see more of me crocheting and working on stuff? Madeline has already said her. More puppets from Madeline, I think we need. I think we need more puppets from Madeline.
I would love to get, like, an actual Muppet. I think that'd be
We have a box of them.
Yeah, I was like, I know we have them in our house. I just have to go dig them out.
Madeline has to go dig out our Muppets.
I know
But,
we have puppets.
I like the new setup. I think this green screen thing works pretty well.
You like it?
I think
I do like it.
I think it's very
I can put
festive.
whatever we want back there. I just thought it was. So
Next time
funny.
we'll have to do it based on the game. So if I'm like playing a game that's like underwater, you can put me underwater.
Well, right now, what's showing you is actually the game capture.
Yeah,
If we would put a game on right now, you'd just be in the game.
that would be funny. But I figured that's what you were doing. But yeah, so we loved thanks to everyone who came by, who just came by to chat. I'm always happy to chat. If you just listen to me in the background as your ASMR thing while you're doing like work,
That's what I'm doing.
then you know
Literally behind me.
I'm happy to be that too. I can talk for hours. I enjoy hanging out and just kind of having some fun with people. And in this case, I'm experimenting. I'm doing some arts, doing some crafts, doing some chatting, you know. So just if you're part of our Discord, we're gonna get a Discord link up eventually. We just haven't. It'll happen over the holidays when we have more time to think about things. But, you know, put stuff in the Discord. Let me know what you like, what you enjoy. We'll be here tomorrow, Tuesday, in the evening, 7:30, 8 maybe. We're playing Sonic X Shadow Generations. I'm enjoying that game a lot. So we'll be playing that for a couple hours. And then we'll see what the week brings us. Like I said, my goal is to try and stream at least once a day. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's short, sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the afternoon. It really does vary. But, yeah. I'm happy to be here, happy to have fun with people. This was kind of fun. Maybe I'll do another crochet something this week. Be assured that whatever I'm doing, whether I'm drawing or crocheting or anything, even playing games, I will probably be talking for many hours about some topic that interests me. So, if you want to come and chat, we're here, we're cozy, we're sometimes gamers. So, thanks for everyone who... Yeah, thanks for everyone who's shown up. I'm going to now get up so I can turn off the stream. So, because my computer isn't anywhere near me, so...
I can get it.
Never mind, Mally's going to go get it.
Okay, bye-bye. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Let me get the little thing. Oh, wait, I have a different one. Here